Is this the place you looked for gold, Father?
No. There was never any gold here.
None at all?
Well, maybe a little. Some folks made a living for a while. But the real gold, that's in the land. It's worth a fortune.
Why?
Because there's a railroad coming. You see, pretty soon, everything you see now will have changed.
Will I be able to work on the railroad, Father?
I should think so, yeah. When you're a little older.
Hey, don't do that. You'll scare the fish away.
Sorry.
They saw a tree and with an axe they took it from the skyline and pulled the tree along the choke line, hauled it on a high rig down to the creek edge. It flowed to the pool ground. The biker threw a roll round and put it on a green chain and smoothed it with a sharp plane. Pushed it through a palm blind until it made the grain shine. Stacked it in a wood yard behind the wire. Sam's God waiting for the next train out of
There were a lot of people working on the railroad. In fact, in the shop itself, there must have been 350 men right in that small area. It was just a beehive of industry because this was their main terminal for the CP rail, for the repairs of cars and locomotives. There was a tremendous amount of noise because every mill that was on the shoreline there, they had their own time whistle, and they'd all blow at 12 o'clock. Every time they go across the crossings, the locomotive bells had to be ringing and clanging of cars, and oh, gee.
17.5 cents an hour, and you worked like a slave. I used to take my T-shirt off and wring it, you sweat. And there wasn't one moment of the whole shift that you weren't wringing wet. You know, at all these mills in the morning, 7 o'clock, there'd be at least 100 men standing around in the rain or shine with hungry mouths waiting for a job.
The basic thing was the war that changed it. For 3 years, our plant had no more than 2 to 3 men in it. But after the war, then it picked up, and during the war, we had 375.
Dearie, there was so much noise in there, and that's why I sang in the mill. I could saw more darn lumber, and I sang all day long.
Blowing in among the winds of change, rolling down the track, kicking at the door of hobo shacks, flowing on the breeze in a jungle full of broken dreams, in the concrete cracks where the clover and the grass grows back, curling in the names and the colors on the rusty frames, knocking at and the windows and the boxcar drains. There was something strange blowing in among the winds of change, blowing in the winds of change. Well, they were small. They were one room. They were shingled, or they were tar papered, or they were metal. Some of them floated, some of them didn't.
So many people at that time were living in empty packing cases under bridges, hundreds of people. We were the aristocrats of the hungry 30s. We had
full-size houses that you could stand up and walk around in.
False Creek was our beach. Let's say, you know, as a gang, it was our beach. And that included girls, boys, fathers, mothers, the whole bit.
Oh, sure. I could row like anything. I wonder why I haven't been drowned 1,000 times, because I was so reckless in the water all the time.
We were warned, the children were all warned, you mustn't go one step past 9th Avenue, that was Broadway, because there are bears up there. And you know, I never look up that hill now without expecting to see a bear.
There were always the fish boats coming in. Sometimes my mother would say when we were children, oh, I don't know what we'll have for supper. Here's 25 cents. Go and get a salmon. And we'd paddle out and yell at the fish boat, throw him the 25 cents, and he'd throw about a 15-pound salmon and then he'd sink your canoe.
On a clear day, a seawall highway, cars park and boats play and people talk in a new way. Green fields, a future bay, I'm walking home.
Really, it was just one big garbage dump, and nobody paid any attention to the creek as a potential park, which it could be, and is fast becoming, actually.
The people who are living in Phase 1 are living there not because they have to, but because they want to. Or they want it to work. There's a desire to make it work.
Well, I have a lot more friends here. We usually have fewer friends in our neighborhood. That was our last neighborhood. But over here we have about 26 friends, and over there we only had about 14.
It's a urban type of a living, and nevertheless you have a piece of a playground, a piece of a garden. And if you are in a concrete skyscraper, you don't have that.
And this is the most important thing in a city, is that the people of that city enjoy themselves. Really nothing else is as important as that.
What did you learn in school today? I wouldn't want to live in the mountains.
Oh, why?
Well, Carol was telling us about this man named Hamlet. He used to live here in False Creek. And he wrote a book, and she read parts of it. He talked about the dirty water they had back then, and that the city never could be a natural place to live in, and that human beings were meant to live in a natural environment, and this wasn't a natural environment. Finally, he moved away to the mountains and lived on carrot juice and grew old. And Tasha asked Carol if he had ever come back, and she said of course he had, all the time, almost on any excuse he could find. And Tasha asked why, and do you know what she said? To have some fun.
False Creek could be, in a sense, of a place to go and enjoy oneself like nothing else in the world.
Hey, 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 hey.